Hey guys, this will be my review slash rant about Arrow Season 4 Episode 18, 11:59. And just spell it out there, that's the time of death the doctor called for Dinah Laura Lance, the Black Canary herself. Um, this kind of had a lot of mixed emotion. It's emotional, one for being just angry at the writers, and second just because I guess it was a pretty well acted build up to it, somewhat. They laid it on really thick that she was going to be dying. Her being up for this promotion for DA, and this conversation with Ruve Dark to Quentin Lance telling her during a dinner that he wants her to turn down the promotion and stay the Black Canary because if she's the DA, if Laura became DA, she would have had to have security on her 24/7, and basically couldn't leave their sight. And Oliver says that he should, he remembers that she took on the mantle to honor her sister's memory, but Sarah's not dead anymore, so Laura should pursue her original dream of becoming the DA, and also I guess it would have been a nice way to have somebody who had experience fighting on the streets and cementing how kind of be the Harvey, the Harvey Dent to their Team Arrow's Team Batman. It was kind of a dynamic they were kind of hoping to go for in Dark Knight, but kind of fall by the wayside. At least the characters in the context of that movie. To the point where it's even when she was fatally stabbed and in the hospital, they were basically and got out of surgery and it seemed like she was gonna be fine. They were basically talking to her as if she got diagnosed with she got diagnosed with cancer or something. Basically the episode starts off because Andy gets a gun out of the safe from Diggle's apartment. Diggle told him where it is. He says that he's afraid Haim knows that he's alive, and Malcolm came to Andy about helping him break Damien Dark out of prison. And for some reason, they decided to reassemble the idol from episode 15, and albeit with one jewel from it separated, that they hid in another location. And there's also, we learned from Damien Dark that it was forged by the Homo Magi, which I guess is an race of subhuman, or a sub-race of magical using humans, and they appeared in the Justice League comics. And it just fucking A. It's they laid it on so thick. I don't know why they would reassemble the idol. Malcolm Merlyn's apparently getting it for Damien Dark because as part of a deal that if Dark gets his powers back, that Malcolm and Thea will be spared from Genesis. Although we still don't know what Genesis is. We don't know what that huge hype about that ring he snuck into his cell in episode 16 was about. It just seemed like a pointless plot device. But it just leads to Green Arrow, Dick Spartan, and Andy leading an ambush trying to stop Malcolm Merlyn from stealing some missiles, and apparently he has some League of Assassins loyalists trying to help him stop the robbery, and they're able to fool it very easily, to the point where it raises suspicions for Green Arrow. And of course it's a diversion for Malcolm to break into the Arrow Cave and with other League loyalists and steal the idol. Laura's able to hold her own, as well as Thea. She gets into a one-on-one fight with Malcolm, but can't bring herself to kill him in spite of their falling out. So they get away with the idol. Oliver suspects that Andy might not be on their side but Laurel advises him not to look for concrete evidence before making any accusations that could damage the relationship with Diggle. And then Andy gives them intel about where Malcolm's hiding in a factory, but it turns out to be a booby trap in which all these these crossbows are set up. Andy takes an arrow for Green Arrow, and Diggle tells them that there's still one missing piece that'll prevent Dark from getting his powers back, and Green Arrow is able to convince him not to tell Andy where it is. Andy goes back to Diggle's apartment to look for it, and Green Arrow confronts him, knowing that he's suspicious of him, but Diggle also arrives there too, pulling a gun on Green Arrow and threatening to shoot him if he doesn't release Andy. And while they're on the island, and also there's flashbacks to the island where Tiana shows a photo of herself and her brother younger. They're able to set a trap for Ryder in which Tiana gets out of the cave, sends the other men into the cave, grabs the keys, frees the prisoners, and then Oliver's able to gun down the other soldiers and use a bomb to trap them in the cave, but it doesn't faze Ryder because he just shoots the other soldiers and figures he can use their souls to power the idol and then uses telekinesis to presumably get out. And Oliver shows Tiana a picture of Laurel, saying that she was his home, which rings hollow, knowing all the women that Oliver cheated on her with, including sleeping with Sarah, and they both agree that if one of them doesn't get out, one of them dies, the other person will tell the other person's family about what happened. And I guess that, and Laurel uses her authority as the ADA to search the prison for a missing piece of Dark's idol. She doesn't find it. Dark threatens her. It turns out Murmur, who's still working for Dark as a result of last week's episode, is able to, using on a book card and giving out books to all the prisoners. They get all the prisoners' knives and they form a riot. Murmur has the idol, and Dark leads a prison riot. Captain Quentin shows up to start a fight with Lieutenant Pike and is able to provide a distraction for everybody to break into Iron Heights and stop the riot. Laurel and Thea fight Murmur and his men. Thea fights Malcolm again. Malcolm once again beats her, saying because she doesn't have the bloodlust, she doesn't have it in her to kill him, and taunts her by saying she will never beat him, and runs off. And at first it seems like they have everybody at knife point, or they have hostages at knife point. Damien Dark, including Andy, saying that lower their weapons or they'll all be killed. Andy's released, and it turns out and shows everyone that he really was loyal to Dark all along. He not only gives him the missing piece of the idol, but the combination of his intel to Dark, as well as the events from the kidnapping, that Dark is able to deduce the identities of Team Arrow, which I'm finally glad he's able to do that, because it was getting pretty ridiculous that he couldn't figure it out from the very get-go anyway. And that's when, first Thea tries to stop him from using his powers, and he's bleeding out. So he has to shoot another prisoner to have the soul repower the idol, and telekinetically freezes everybody. Green Arrow tries to fire an arrow at Dark, but he then catches the arrow and stabs Laurel with it, because the rest of the team can't do anything about it, and then escapes with he escapes. Dark escapes with Malcolm and the other 50 prisoner inmates. They try to take her to they take her to the hospital for surgery, and they have a conversation. And although, like it is, I'll give it credit for being very well acted, because Laurel was saying how she realized that she wanted to keep the role as Black Canary because she never felt more alive fighting side by side with the rest of Team Arrow. Felicity, who was absent for most of the episode, comes to Laurel's bedside with the rest of the team, and they have a very like heartfelt, powerful conversation, saying that she loves the team, that she loves those guys, she loves them, they love her too. Laurel reveals that she kept her own photo that Oliver kept of her while he was on the island, and she said it was a reminder of the simpler times they had, and that she wishes Oliver the best of luck with Felicity and reconciling, and says that even though she's not the love of Oliver's life, Oliver will always be the love of his, and ask her for a favor. We don't hear what the conversation is, and apparently, according to Wendy Miracle, the executive producer, we won't find out till season 5. And even though Captain Lance is on his way to the hospital, we hear like flatlining. That's where they hear Laurel coding, and she's having a seizure, and her heart stops, and that's where her character officially gets the axe. Oliver walks out crying. Diggle's blaming himself for not listening to Oliver's warnings about Andy being a traitor, and Lance arrives too late, but sees the look on Oliver's face, realizing what happened, and he just collapses on the floor, and they just look at each other, just barely holding back tears. And they just said, everybody keeps saying, like, oh, it was such... Everybody involved just says, like, oh, it was a creative decision. It just feels like I said, people were laying it on thick with the whole, like, Olicity drama, and I just feel like it was just like PR bullshit. Because I always had theories about if Katie Cassidy even got along with the writers or vice versa, because it's like her characterization was never consistent. It was, and I never liked Laurel all the time. She had her moments where I just wanted to just despised her. It made me think that they didn't know what to do with this character, and she was supposed to be an iconic character, and it's like, I don't know why they couldn't just bring somebody else on board, like have like fucking Melissa Rosenberg, the showrunner for Jessica Jones, come on board. You know, I mean, Trish Walker, played by Rachel Taylor, she was basically Laurel Lance 2.0. She's basically everything that Laurel Lance could have and should have been. I mean, because it's like they don't seem to do that great of a job of writing her. Personally, I was starting to really like her from like the latter half of season 3 on. The whole arc with resurrecting Sarah notwithstanding, Damien Dark should have been responsible for resurrecting Sarah as part of a diversion, you know, screw with Team Arrow emotionally. They still could have had this little drama about Oliver not telling Laurel about the Lazarus Pit, and him, like, his tendency to keep secrets, and, you know, Laurel being like, why can't you ever give a damn about my family? Still have the storyline play out, and not backpedal her character just for the sake of making that arc working. And I don't know. She deserved better. I don't know what's going on. She deserved better than this. I really, really was starting to like this character. This was definitely her best season, for sure. I mean, she was acting as like a moral support for Oliver, and I feel like she's still a very divisive character, and still like divisive enough that I feel like killing her off was a big mistake, because it's just gonna like come off as dry for about half the fan base, and it feels like if you can like kill somebody off, it should have an emotional impact on like the viewers as a whole. And this character is coming into her own, and then it's like she gets killed prematurely, but it's like, and they really seem to have a thing where it's only become a trope that anybody wearing a Black Canary costume gets stabbed in the stomach with a fucking arrow And I don't get it. Like it's sort of like a crapshoot when it comes to like how they write women on the show. I mean, Thea's well developed, Nissa's well developed. You know, Sarah. You know, like we had like Nissa and Sarah, like well developed female characters from the get go. Thea took till season 3 to have her established. Laurel till latter half of season 3. And then, like I said, the backpedaling with the Sarah resurrection arc, but I just I don't know. Katie Cassidy, she's very beautiful, she's very talented, and I wish her continued success, and that her next kid, hopefully it's a lead on the show, so she'll guarantee job security. Um, that she wanted to deal with this crap. That she wanted to deal with this, giving her like such bad writing to have like better writing to reflect her acting talents. I don't know. I guess I give the episode like a 6.5. I mean, it was a mixed bag. I mean, it was a solid I mean, it did seem like a solid I mean, it had a strong moment, but it had equally weak moments, and I just don't think this was a very smart decision to do. And I mean, this is still part of the universe now where there's time travel's a thing, so maybe you just get to see her come back. I hope they get to, and she died without being in the presence of her family. I mean, without her mother, Quentin, Sarah. I don't know, guys. I mean, what are your thoughts on the episode? What are your thoughts on Laurel? On Laurel's death, what do you think about her entire arc? What do you think of her as a character? Let me know your thoughts about Laurel down below. I know I don't. If it's positive, great. If it's negative, fine. I just want to get a conversation going. Um, so I'm just gonna go watch Agents of Shield now from last night. I didn't get a chance to do that. Work on some other videos. Do more Daredevil stuff, and I have a couple movie reviews that I'm going to do. I saw a sneak preview of The Boss last night, and I'm going to go see a sneak preview of Criminal tomorrow and get those up by the end of the week, hopefully. So, if you guys like this, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.